there, listeners and viewers back home. Good morning. Welcome on to the network of Metropolitan Broadcasting Services Limited, owners of Impact Africa Television ITV and Impact Business Radio IBR 92.5 FM, your station of choice. The program on air now is Insight. And on this program, we take a look at Nigeria's past and present, and we project into the future. What shall the future of Nigeria be like? What do you think we should be doing now to make the future a glorious one for you, for me, and for the children coming after us, and properly for the generation unborn? My name is Adefemi Makpadero, your regular host, and with me in the studio as my co-anchor is Anoluwapo Omorinde.
Femi, a very good morning to you and to our listeners and viewers out there. Thank you so much for joining us on the program once again. It promises to be as educative as it's usually. Join us.
Thank you so much, Anu. One of the great disservices done to this nation by rulers past is the fact that history was at a point in time removed from the curriculum of both primary and secondary schools. Our youths no longer know the history and political development of this nation, and they are just left in a quandary, not knowing where they fit into, and it seems to them that they are floating. Most of them today do not know who Azikiwe Awolowo was. They don't know who Ahmadu Bello was. They do not know who Tafawa Balewa, Joseph Taka, Ladoke Akintola, Joseph Olawoyin, SG Ikoku, Balarabe Musa and Kowa. They also do not know the efforts these people made to ensure that Nigeria became an independent country, and they also do not know the road that Nigeria traveled towards becoming an independent nation. Do they know that perhaps prior to the independence of Nigeria, Chief Obafemi Awolowo once said that Nigeria is not a nation but a mere geographical expression? Do they equally know that the ethnic groups that make up Nigeria were forced into the union, that is, into becoming Nigeria, and even after becoming independent? Do they know that there are still some deep-seated animosities and hurts in the minds of some tribes, in the minds of some people and ethnic groups, one against the other? How can the people of the Niger Delta, for example, forget the treatment given to Azizi Kadakaburu, or lately to Ken Saro-Wiwa? How can the people of the Benue Plateau forget and live with the injustice being done to them, all in the name of the unity of this nation? How can the people of the southeast of this country forget the 30-month civil war in which they lost about 3 million people? Or how can the people of the Yoruba area forget the injustice done on their land with the Declaration of Independence, declaration of emergency leading to the imprisonment of Chief Obafemi Awolowo in a crisis supported by the federal government? So, when I watched a video clip lately where Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe was speaking and appealing that we should forget our hurts and our wounds and heal the breaches of the past and bind our nation's wounds, I wonder, can this really happen? Are we really ready to move forward? If we are ready to move forward, in what direction should we be traveling? Or do we take it, according to Karl May, that this house has fallen? And if so, what do we do to build a new nation? What do we do to build a new house, as it were? The Yorubas say that Ile Oba to Jono Ewa Lobusi, that is, if the king's house gets burned, a new one certainly will be better and beautiful and modern. Can we say this of Nigeria? In what direction are we traveling to achieve this? Let us listen to Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe as he spoke then.
The challenge of Nigeria as a free state in 20th century Africa is the need to revive the stature of man in Africa and restore the dignity of man in the world. Nigerians believe passionately in the fundamental human rights. We regard all races of the human family as equal. Under no circumstance shall we accept the idea that the black race is inferior to any other race. I call upon Alhaji Amadou Bello, the Sarana of Sokoto, to join us in this Herculean task of national reconstruction. I exhort Chief Obafemi Awolowo to associate with us, in this great adventure of restoring the dignity of man in the world. There are many leaders who can give active support and assistance to our nation at its supreme hour of need. Chief Samuel Ladoke Akintola, Dr. Michael Ihanukara Okpara, and Samuel Grace Ikoku, and then Chief Dennis Chukwude Osarebe, Malam Aminu Kanu, Malam Ibrahim Imam, and J.S. Taka of northern Nigeria, and countless others. I appeal to all our leaders, far and near, to forget the wounds which were inflicted in cause of our internecine altercations. The love of our country should outweigh the love of our petty selves. The enjoyment of individual freedom under the law should mean more to us than our self-centered party programs and manifestos. Common dangers and common enemies alert us on the need for common security. The British came here in 1851 and found us hopelessly divided in tribal compartments. When Britain transferred power to us on 1st October 1960, we were no longer an expression of geography, but a reality of history. During all our years of political vassalage, we became socially and economically integrated. We have also developed an identity of interest, and we have crystallized common nationality. The process of political integration reached its zenith at midnight on 30th September 1960, when we lastly sang our national anthem, and our national flag was hoisted aloft to signal the birth of a new nation. Come and join Abubakar with me, Sardauna, Awolowo, Akintola, Osarebe, Okpara, Ikoku, Aminu Kano, Ibrahim Imam, and Taka. Let us bind the nation's wound, and let us heal the breaches of the past, so that in forging our nation, there shall emerge on this continent a hate-free, fear-free, and greed-free people who shall be in the vanguard of a world task force whose assignment is not only to revive the stature of man in Africa, but to restore the dignity of man in the world.
Tell me which way to go. I love my fatherland. Oh, yeah. I want to know.
All right.
Some solution.
Let me seize this opportunity. Welcome. It's good to have you back. And Mr. Laula Boguloko is back. Welcome.
Thank
Mr.
you for having me.
All right, Deacon, let's start with you. Seeing Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe of blessed memory speak, I see a man speaking with passion. I see a man speaking with your life that is in him. But unfortunately, years after this speech was made, many of the things he called on those nationalists to come and address, to join them, right, to address, there are still things that are haunting us today.
Anu, permit me to say, Awolowo, Azikiwe, Amadou Bello, and all that he mentioned were sleepwalking.
Meaning sleepwalking?
At that time?
Yep.
Why? And how?
You know the meaning of sleepwalking?
Yes.
They were sleepwalking. And when a child sleepwalks,
You can get lost.
and that's what happened to us. They were sleepwalking. They were deep asleep. But their brain was working. Nigeria never got any independence. I think I said that before. No. It's what I call cyclic colonialism.
Or can we say we are deluding ourselves
Maybe that's a better word, I don't know.
that we never got independence?
No, there was never anything called independence. What is the definition of independence? Sovereignty.
Freedom.
Your ability to decide what happens to you, how you are governed. Is that not independence? Freedom to determine your economic, social, and political future. That's independence. At what point was Nigeria in a position to say, this is my future? Well, I'm sure you know I have quite a lot of respect for all these people. They are my hero anytime, any day. But that doesn't mean they cannot make mistake. They misread the intention of Britain. The intention was to have a cow fattened to be milked. So they handed over imperialism, exploitative colonialism to people who believe in settler colonialism. And that's the real problem that we've had. A lot of people, if you want to sit on that chair, but you do not know that that chair is being managed, the legs are not okay. There is a way you will sit, and perhaps you are comfortable. But once you shake too much, the leg will give way,
Femi,
and you are down.
Femi the other time talked about the fact that the youths of nowadays are not in touch with history of this nation. It's going to be very difficult for the youths to believe that Nigeria is under whatsoever emancipation, that Nigeria is under, the shackles of any colonial masters, that Nigeria has not been emancipated. Why? Nigeria decides who to borrow from, when to borrow. Nigeria decides what to do with this money. And so the youth believe that it's just an illusion, thinking that America, Britain is still, Nigeria is still under the grip of this country.
Anu, please forgive yourself. Because you are misleading yourself. Nigeria had no choice who to borrow from, what to do with money. They have been dictated to.
Where?
I've told you, we were never independent economically, even politically. They choose who be your leader. You want to become president of Nigeria tomorrow, you refuse to go to
Chatham House.
Chatham House and see whether you will get there. I mean, where else do you talk of? How many they are preparing for election in America? So who is going to represent you to go and observe their election there?
Maybe it really
The last one that they did, you were invited. Britain just went through an election now. Who led your team of observers? For God's sake, I think we are close enough for me to know that you are married. But do you know that I don't know your house? It's not necessary. Must I control you? Why are you deluding yourself, telling anybody that you are independent? I still don't understand. Before you do election, they send people here to come and tell you what to say. They invite you over there
to tell them what you want to do.
And if you are getting money from China, over time they will tell you, do you know the controversy that is going on now? Before you want to borrow money, you have to sign LGBT whatever. Oh, you are totally independent. You are very independent. Our forefathers were sleepwalking. And they sleepwalk into trouble. Unfortunately, we never knew. We were clapping for them. They meant well. That's why I said, how do you want to imagine? There is no country in Africa today that can tell me it's independent.
Even those who are sending away their colonial masters, the likes of Niger and Burkina Faso.
Maybe they are on their process of getting independence. Maybe.
Are they not getting another master's in Russia?
maybe underneath that is not being promoted. Mr. Buguloko, do you share this sentiment? Sincerely, you see, for the youth, it's indeed a very big one. The youths believe that, okay, the elders, they only tell us we are not independent just to, find an excuse. For the present rulers, they believe, no, stop telling us this. Whereas Nigeria, okay, America, Britain will not tell you when the next election is due. You have your timetable. There will be one in 2027. There will be one in 2031, and all of that. So the youths find it so difficult to believe that this country is still subservient to some nations of the world.
Okay. So you want me to either say they are right not to believe or they are wrong?
What's your own?
Because some of the leaders themselves do not believe that we are not independent. But it's only deep thinkers that will know. Actually, those in government, they know where they go to instruct to receive their instructions. But some of the leaders some of the people are sincerely wrong in believing that we are independent. As a matter of fact, the Yorubas have realized this for a long time, because they were saying the independence was trouble. That is, they will say Ominira is Omi-Inera. Because since the so-called independence, it seems we are just going backwards. One step forward, two steps backwards. So when you talk of independence, you will realize that our independence is not total. We are even lucky in the English-speaking countries. The French-speaking countries are the worst. So we need to get our acts together. When you are talking of what is happening, you will observe that some of our leaders, our so-called statesmen, will get invited over there, and whenever they come, they will be singing another tune. Those who are deep, they will know something must have gone wrong. They must have called them to instruct them that the way you are going. As a matter of fact, the West, the so-called colonial master, they don't want us to be independent. They don't want the system to change. So
even amidst this civilization,
those of us who are aspiring for change, we must factor them into our activities. They don't want. It's simple. Their interest is not the same way as our own interest.
Their own interest is economic.
We are the cows that they milk, and they are comfortable now with those who are in their affairs, because they could easily call them and manipulate them. Some of them have their cupboard is not all that clean, so they have a way of doing subtle blackmail, and they will call them to order. As a matter of fact, some of them are agents, if you like it or not. I'm on here now. And let me tell you this. These people, they have their own internal workings. Britain, for example, they don't have a written constitution, but they have norms. They have their ways. But in our own case, do we really have anything that you can say a long-standing master plan or a strategy? During the time of, I think, Murtala Mohammed, our foreign exchange used to be very, very sound. And people were, the likes of Professor Akinyemi and all that, people were hailing them. Can you say we have any foreign exchange, any foreign policy now that is beneficial to us? We don't have any master plan. People are just going there. They will say, when we get there, we know what to do. But these people, they've perfected their acts. When they were going, they handed over the country to some people. And these people, my colleague was saying the leaders, they were sleepwalking. Not all of them were sleepwalking. Some of them knew,
eyes were open.
were open. They knew the country was being handed over to them. and they had their plans.
Cite an example of someone that was not a slumber.
The North, for example, they were not a slumber. During the course of negotiation for independence, they had all their ways. All the things they asked for were given them, and they had reassurance. They were in power. How could somebody like Azikiwe, who spoke so eloquently, agree to be a ceremonial president? You will want to ask, what went wrong? There were negotiations. There was subtle pressure, subtle blackmail that, and it's only those who can think deep. It's like people say, it's the deep that takes to the deep. Some of us that are looking on the surface, we may not know what is happening, but these people, they have their ways.
Okay, Bikin. Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe spoke about healing the wounds, binding the nation together, and he said we are hopelessly divided. What has changed? That speech was made in 1963.
Nothing.
We are talking of 61 years after.
Nothing.
Nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed. Okay, I think I remember now. Bismarck,
Yes, Otto von Bismarck.
the Iron Chancellor
Yes, Germany.
of Germany, found himself in almost situation that Azikiwe found himself. It was tough, but he was able to. That's why they call him Iron Chancellor. I insist, some of our leaders were sleepwalking. I want to imagine, just like my friend here said, I want to imagine Azikiwe saying, ceremonial what? What's the meaning? In fact, okay, so what's even the meaning in the first instance?
Maybe you get that in a parliamentary system of government.
What's the meaning? You just put on agbada and be waving, and that's your duty.
State functions, you appear at state functions.
With less executive powers.
May you not be a ceremonial father
Or husband.
or husband. See, the issue here is this. Please, let's go back to the reality. Ab initio, Nigeria was not independent. As a matter of fact, I think I've said it here before. It was Palmer who first said Nigeria is a geographical expression. Awolowo elaborated on it.
Yes.
Palmer is an undersecretary with Britain.
Britain, yes.
Okay? Now, when he look at what they have done, and they said it, that these guys are essentially different people. They regurgitated what they call Nigeria by rushing out to give us independence, because Britain had suffered so many setbacks for war. The Kenya you people are celebrating today fought.
The Mau Mau.
I mean fought. They got it by
Bloodshed.
bloodshed.
Yes.
They got their independence by bloodshed. And I will repeat that our leaders were sleepwalking. The whole idea of independence, we start from who are you and how do we relate? I've told you it's cyclic colonialism. It started from exploitative colonialism. Britain want to come and exploit all your minerals. Simple. All your human beings. They force you into slavery. Some people came. They have no land of their own. They wanted not just your human resources or natural resources. They wanted that land. That's why they call them settler colonialism. Okay, so they wanted the land. Britain came, they wanted your oil, they wanted your gold, they wanted your human beings. They will take that and go. But some people came They don't even need your land. They don't need your oil. They want the land. So the only way they can do that is to kill you, and that's what they were doing. Now, when these exploitative guys came and saw that, oh, these guys have already entrenched themselves, they had an agreement. I call it joint venture. That, hey, you know what? You want the land. Continue struggling for your land. Anything you get from the land is what I want, ab initio. Okay? So, we don't have anything to fight over. You want the land. I want the resources there. You go, I hand over the land to you. You go and allow me to milk the land. Simple. It became neo-colonialism. So it's still part of colonialism.
So if Nigeria was designed that way, why are Nigerians today blaming the current leaders for the wars?
They call it elite capture. You can Google it. They call it elite capture. What you do under such circumstances is to get your surrogate, make them become elite, right? And you now make them capture the people.
That's what is happening now.
From 1999 to date, what you have is elite capture.
Not democracy.
I don't know the meaning of democracy. You know,
Government of the people, for the people, by the people. That's the simplest definition of democracy.
Okay. Can you repeat yourself?
Government of the people, for the people and by the people.
And that's what you think you are having now. No. I know you're intelligent. That's what you think you are having now. Is the people that choose the people that are there now. Is that what you are saying? For the people, in the interest of the people. The people that are there now are there in the interest of the people. No. I told you I don't know the meaning of democracy. Please explain it to me. You said government of the people.
For the people.
By the people.
By the people.
Oh, so you are the people that elected these guys there now.
And you are the people controlling them.
And you are the people controlling them. And they are there for your interest. Define what you are saying. Maybe you need Google.
Now that we are in this dilemma, as it were, Kalmia said, this house has fallen. Are we traveling that trajectory?
Well, I can say the house is not completely falling, but it's dilapidated
It's
already. Dilapidated and could fall any moment from now if urgent repairs or urgent remedy is not taken. Now we are, thank God for a forum like this. We are enlightening ourselves now. We are, for those who have ears to hear, some of these problems are being exposed now. And now is the time for us to look for lasting solution to all these problems. We cannot continue patching it up. We cannot, whenever you talk of a lofty idea, a lofty solution, some people will say, would they accept? That kind of word, would they? It shouldn't be in an lexis, or what do you lexicon, or what do you call it now? We know what is happening now. Let us get our people together. What do we really want?
But that's exactly what Nnamdi Azikiwe was saying. That let us heal the...
He was telling his colleagues to heal the wounds.
Yes.
But those people, they were politicians, you know. You know, I told you that some of them were not sleepwalking, like my friend here said. So they were not in the same camp. They are just the NNPC and NPC and NCNC, a marriage of convenience. So in such a place, they were only 3 years in government, and we know a lot of things that happened during that time. The Awolowo that he was, if you truly said this speech was made in 1963, and Awolowo should have been in prison then, and he was calling Awolowo to come and join him so that they will heal the wounds. somebody who is in prison, is it the person who is coming to meet him to heal wounds? So they were politicians. There were problems. From that time, problems have started. The differences, the deep-seated animosity has already rearing its ugly heads. And they were helpless in solving the problem. He himself was not in control any longer. So all these things happened then. Must we continue? Must we allow such to happen again? What I think we should do now is for the people to really come out and voice what they really wanted. Do we continue in this? I read somewhere some days ago about a new book by what's the author of Things Fall Apart? Chinua Achebe.
There was a country.
No, there's a new book. He was in that book. He was saying that it was only Zik that want unity. That all other leaders like Ahmadu Bello and Awolowo were singing new tunes, or different tunes rather. But the unity that he was talking about is the unity that Irunzi and all the people brought out, and is the same unity that we are still trying to patch up now, that the unity of Nigeria is not negotiable. Let us look for the solution, and we've always been saying it, that true regionalism is the panacea for all these things.
Let's look at it this way. You've always been championing the cause of truth and reconciliation. Now, Nnamdi Azikiwe said, let us heal the wounds. Let us bind up the nation. How do we do this and make the people of the South forget what happened to Ken Saro-Wiwa, what happened to Adakaboro? So this truth and reconciliation.
Sincerity of purpose is critical in anything you do. You cannot achieve reconciliation without truth. It's not impossible, and we have a very good one that you can always point out. The Fourth War in Switzerland,
Yes.
but they are living together now. The Fourth War in America,
Yes.
the Fourth War in Rwanda. In Rwanda today, whether you are
Tutsi
of
and
what-
Hutus.
doesn't really matter. Why? Because you have a civilized leader who understands that what matters is actually life. What matters is human being. You are essentially a human being before they call you Yoruba, before they call you Femi. Once you realize that as a human being, you have your own limitations. No matter what, there is a way, there is something that can happen even within this studio now. That everybody will scamper. Why? We cherish our life. But if I cherish my life, why do I think your own life is inferior? Why don't I protect your life? They call it enlightened self-interest. Knowing that you are as protected as your neighbor. If your neighbor is not protected, you are vulnerable. So the first thing really is this. Can we, first of all, agree that we are different? That does not mean that we cannot live together. It only means that don't sit on my laps. I can feel pain. It only means giving me my freedom to act whichever way I want. We have a lot to learn, and we should be humble enough to know that Rwanda is far ahead of us. We should be humble enough to know that there is something to learn in Switzerland. They are human beings. Are they able to live together? Why are they making progress? I've said it maybe 1 million times on this program. Show me somebody from Switzerland that is here in Ibadan looking for teaching appointment or to be a medical doctor. It's not possible. Because like I've always been telling you, when you are comfortable at home, you have no reason to want to relocate anywhere.
I'm going along that trajectory, in line with what Mr. Bogloko said. He said Nigeria is dilapidated, but not actually falling. What do you think should be the solution?
Okay, let me use this. It's not intended, but let me use this to announce to you how far the rebirth group
Okay,
has gone.
okay.
There is today Western Region movement going on, and I must say it out that the spread, the speed is neck breaking. The way people embrace it is neck breaking. We want to encourage other people to come together. Let the just come together. Forget about whether they will agree or they will not agree. Name your child. Come together and say, I, as a member of Ijaw ethnic group, I will want this. Let an average, we may even be very unfair to some groups. Because if you do a census of the Fulanis, are you telling me that everybody, in fact I grew up in the north anyway, but even down here, there are some people in Sabo in Ibadan there that their grandfather was born here. And we've been living together in harmony. It is let me call them the homeless people that think they need your land and they don't want to negotiate with you. They think the only way they can access that land is to kill you, is to force you to take the land. We need to be focused on what our problem really is. When you are talking about the youth, what do they know?
They don't know the history of this country.
Right? So you need to forgive them. So when they get to a certain stage, the only solution to their problem as far as they are concerned is to japa. Because there is nobody to lead them, to show them what to do. So they run. And only cowards run away from problems. If you are not a coward and you know you are intelligent enough, confront it. Confront your fear. What is your fear? Name what you want.
But the level of tolerance, seems to differ. In Kenya today, the youth confronted it,
Yes.
and they are getting results. The amazing thing about Kenya's story is that the president has been engaging them nearly on a daily basis, talking to them, seeing fire being on the mountain. But in Nigeria, the youths will look at the 2020 experience. Oh, the government is still denying the fact that some youth lost their lives. Some parents are still looking for their children and all that. So the level of tolerance is actually what is taking some youths aback. Hey, Nigeria.
I don't think it's the level of tolerance. Don't forget our history. An average Nigerian know that you debated yourself into what you call independence. Old meeting here, old meeting there. An average Kenyan know that my great-grandfather fought for this.
And they are not even...
So the mentality is different.
The mentality is different.
They are
My
not
great-grandfather
even-
fought for this.
Yes.
Let me give you a very typical example, even in Nigeria here. Have you seen the aggressiveness towards Nigeria by the Easterners? 90% of the people shouting civil war or whatever their father was not even born during that time. But they had the story. If there is story of how Nigeria got independence, perhaps it will be different. But we don't need to go that route. You don't need to really to go on the street to achieve it.
But I want to differ a bit with you on that.
Okay.
What was the problem? What was the issue during EndSARS? I think
Police brutality.
they were
That's what
talking
they
of
wanted.
police brutality, and government went ahead to say they've disbanded the SARS. They will do the necessary thing, which means they've really punctured their activities. So what else were they fighting for? These people, these Kenyans, they have an issue that they were.
The finance bill. Issue of tax.
And government is just like in the Nigerian Labour Union. They were negotiating with government with certain basic salary or something. And government has been negotiating with them all the while. So that's Kenyan government was negotiating with the youth. It's not a big deal. They have an issue which they are discussing. They've not resolved it. They are still on the discussion. But the one of EndSARS, it was a single issue. And government said they've disbanded. So what else do you want?
Okay. Now it's time to invite our listeners and our viewers to the discussion. Has this house fallen? You can have your say. The numbers to call: 0916-104-7698, 0916-104-7698, or 0902-280-9257, 0902-280-9257. Those are the numbers to the studio. Has this house fallen? And when you look at the trajectory that we've been talking about, our children don't know the political development of this nation. It was once said that even if you go to Ikenne today, you may ask some of them and they don't know who Awolowo was. But they will know Obafemi Martins, the footballer. They don't know Obafemi Awolowo. Has this house fallen?
Hello, good morning.
Hello, sir. Good morning. Deborah from Ibadan.
Madam Deborah, welcome.
I think the problem with Nigeria is that they are not here. When you have a very brilliant child and you keep on failing, you will want to know what is happening. Immediately we start going to Tataram to go and lay our emphasis on them. Going to IMF and going to all these areas, we will not get through. Look at what is happening in Kenya now. Look at what is happening in Nigeria now. They know, and our president has been there for 20 years. What is the preparation? How many years is there to these people prepare before they can reach their promised land? Where they are going now. I think the most important thing is that we Nigerians should rise up and have our own president ourselves. We're not the one that is the dictator from colonial masters. God will heal our land.
Thank you so much, Madam Deborah, for your time on the program this morning. You can also join the conversation 0901 610 0698, 0907 072 0980. These are the numbers to call. Hello, good morning. Thank you.
Yes. Please, we enjoy this discussion every day, and we want to change. We want change. We want Nigeria to better. The youth are suffering. No job, nothing, no food. Please, this discussion, you people know all the senior youth around Nigeria. Invite them, let them also hear and join this conversation. It's enough to change now. It's getting too long.
Okay.
Please.
What's the name? What's the name? Oh,
John.
okay.
John.
Mr. John from Ojo. Thank you so much for your time on the program. Okay, so you can also call 0907 072 0980. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you.
This is Anthony.
You're welcome.
Some weeks ago, I think we woke up to hear about 60
They are calling for return to parliamentary system of government. 60 lawmakers.
Space. And we were expecting that more of that will be had. But it seems now that, because I believe that those 60 lawmakers, they were trying to bring back or create a kind of regional mentality that we all are trying for, that is the only way out to save this country from impending doom. But it seems that there are some elements that doesn't really want to look at this and see the implications. And by now, I think we should ask them, what about that bill or the motion? How far is it gone? Or has it been passed as they used to do? Or when they see something that will be relevant to the country, to the people, they will never let it to see the light of the day. So I think we should ask them, what about that proposal or motion of bill? How far are they gone with it? Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Anthony, for your time on the program. To those that are trying to call 0907 072, you want to repeat the call. I'm sure those ones are calling from afar. 0907 072 0980. You can call on that number too. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
A very good morning to you.
Yes, I'm calling from Calabar.
Your name from Calabar.
My name is Victor.
Victor from Calabar. You're welcome.
Yes. I think I've been watching keenly the program as this house fallen. It will be a shame for especially the Nigerian youth to sit and watch their country go down the ruin. Unfortunately, the people we listen to who know the truth are not talking out. We have pastors, we have imams, and they are all silent. Is it until we get into the streets that the sanity will return back? Look at what we have today in Abuja. People who have assembled themselves and they call themselves our leaders who are representing us. They don't even care. They are not even saying anything. I think until there is an implosion, a situation whereby we can no longer have these leaders right on our street, whereby they will really know that if they drive on our roads, we will come after them. I think only then will sanity return to the so-called House of Assemblies, where at whatever level. We are sitting on a ticking time bomb.
Okay.
And it's unfortunate that nobody is seeing it. So I quite enjoyed this program this morning because the man who talked about democracy defined it correctly. There is no democracy in Nigeria.
All right.
We should sit on. Thank you so very much, sir.
Thank you so much, Victor from Calabar. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Please turn down the volume of that TV, please.
I have done that. Good morning.
Good morning. Your name and where you are calling from?
I'm Pastor Philemon. I'm calling from Benue.
Pastor Philemon from Benue. You're welcome.
Thank you. I didn't start the program from the beginning, but I've been following majorly this program for some time. And from the topic we are just discussing, has this house fallen? I think the house is 97% falling. The reason being this: when elders begin to lie to the children, and take it for in play, you are teaching these children how to lie. The truth is, our elders are lying to the youth, and then they are telling the youth not to lie. How do you put these two together? That you elders who claim you know the history of this nation, you were there when all the happenings took place. All of a sudden, you will be gripping the child and telling the child not to cry. You can't do that. Not even in the present situation we find ourselves. You will tell the youth, okay, the youth are the leaders of tomorrow. And yet, how many youths have been given an opportunity to be in government? Let's say that this
Tomorrow
nation
never
is falling
comes.
because our elders are being insincere.
All right.
Who is the president of this country? How many of the youths have risen to become president of this nation? From the outset,
All right. Pastor Philemon.
when the democracy started, it has been elders and upon
Thank you.
elders and upon elders.
All right.
They keep lying to us.
All right.
Pastor Philemon,
Thank
we
you
must
so much
for calling.
for your time on the program this morning. There are many people here. Someone is also here. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, thank you so much.
My elders, I greet you.
Welcome.
My name is Benedict from Abuja.
Benedict from Abuja. Quickly, please.
Okay, please, I want to point out some issue here about the house is falling.
Okay.
If we have an agenda, go and lie to the children. You are encouraging the children to lie too. What am I saying? If we have a minister of education in this country, and there is chance for each month, and the same minister travel to abroad and celebrate his son who have graduated from university, and there's nothing that the government has done to that fellow, what are you encouraging the country, the youth? And if in this country you discover that some people are stealing billions of naira from the government treasury, and there's no punishment attached to it, you are encouraging the youth to steal trillions tomorrow.
All right.
So the country should look at it when there's no government character. When you see politicians who are parading with government money and sending their children to abroad to study, why education will not function in this country?
All right.
What are we encouraging?
All right, Mr. Benedict from Abuja. Apologies, others are calling. These are calls from far places, but of course we cannot pick. Apologies to Baba from Ijebu, Prime Shola Shitu. Time is not just on our side. I think we need to go. Dickon, let's start with you. We have just a minute. Apologies, we'll have to turn down this chorus. You've heard from the people. How would you summarize and wrap up?
Each and everybody that called, particularly from outside Yoruba land, from Calabar, from Borno, from Abuja, go and form your own group. What do you really want? The beauty of Nigeria as of today is that despite having lost everything, we are still having freedom to associate. We are still having freedom to say what we want. Let each and every one of you go and find out what do the people in your area want. Simple.
Thank you so much, Mr. Buguloko.
What I will say is this: let us marshal our points. Let us know what we really wanted. Let us discuss and say this is what we want. It's not going to be an issue that government will just solve in a way. You say because there is no food. Government can import food and you have food. Would that solve the problem? Let us go to the fundamental issue and come up with the solution.
All right, thank you so much. Because of our time, it's a bye from my hand for today. Next week is another time. Femi.
Thank you, Anu. Actually, we've run out of time and we just must go. We want to thank our contributors, Diknola Biola Dejo, Mr. Laulu Aboguloko.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, viewers.
And we thank our production crew, Temitope Olalude, Tunji Adeyefa, Godwin, and others, Oseni Sulaiman. Thank you for doing a good job. And to all our callers, all our parliamentarians, as it were, we want to thank you for calling in from wherever. My name is Adefemi Mapadevu. We'll see you next week. But remember, this house has not fallen yet. It may be 97% gone, but we can still build it up. A new Nigeria is possible with you and me doing the needful. Good morning.